We now return to Let's Play Predynastic Egypt. So, last episode I was contemplating doing some raiding, and right now is actually not the time to be doing that, because I'm going to need my people and the resources that they would otherwise be expending. I don't really need to be eating into my stockpile right now. So instead, we're going to go exploring the area and work on exploring the region. For this mission, I already have 27. We went from, 13, 14 to 27 just by opening all this up in my exploration. So, we'll go around, and I think I'm going to start looking around up here. So I'll take two guys up that way, and then I'll take two over this way. Although, maybe, let's see. Thinking in turns here, that'll be done. And then that'll make those two, which will leave me with 4 2x locations. Alternatively, I could start on these. I don't know, I think it's just going to take a while to get to here. So I'd have all this wrapped up in basically 3 turns as opposed to possibly 4 or 5. Alright. We've also hit Badari culture. So, keeping with the settlement growth, we're going to skip over some things for a while and work towards classes. Because if I can complete this, I'll get my 200 culture that will allow me to start purchasing some of these big things here a little bit easier. And in fact, if we get primitive army, that's really going to help for the conquering of my neighbors. But we do need to get to classes anyway, so we're going to hold off on that. And as far as buildings go, I need to be saving it for a moment, so I don't want anybody building anything either. I'm also going to move this guy to something more productive, and I think we're good to go. So let's hit the next turn. Right. And we found 5 production. Scouts came across a small settlement. It was abandoned, looked in the house, and found some hammers. Badari culture. In 4400 BC, the people of the north, with a culture related to ours, have achieved outstanding success in Middle Egypt. They have cultivated lands and have built many villages and cemeteries. They have a layer of nobility which indicates that they move towards the creation of a state. Alright. So we've opened up 2 more areas that are just 1. I think I want to keep exploring in this direction. I feel like I know there's a tribe over here from my last playthrough, but I'm not sure if it's up here or down here. I don't remember. And I think there's a couple here, one here, and then I know there's another one up here somewhere. So while I could put everyone over here to developing this, I could also gain a few things here in the next turn. Yeah, let's do this instead. I'm about to need somebody hanging around instead of spending time exploring. So we'll move on to the next turn. And I need to remember turn 35 is coming up. The Sanctuary of the Falcon. Leaders of the local tribes have gathered and decided to build a sanctuary for the sacred falcon, but they could not agree on which settlement should erect it. Having argued, the leaders decided that the worthiest settlement would be the one who could finish the construction first. That seems horribly inefficient. We have worshipped the falcon for a long time, and this honor must belong to us. The competition in the building of the Sanctuary of the Falcon has begun. The builders are awaiting your order and eager to start work. The workers in other settlements have already started construction, and they hope to finish it in 10 turns. Start building the sanctuary in the buildings menu as soon as possible. Alright, on that, we found 5 production. Wandering around, we also found 16 food. Scouts came across a fertile glade where they found lots of tasty food. They collected all of it. Okay. So now, we've unlocked this. This is a big thing that we need. For one thing, it'll start producing authority for me, which will help speed that along. So we're going to build that. And I'm going to put 1 person in there. Our workers build the sanctuary day and night. They hope to complete it in 15 turns. Other settlements will finish in 10. What resources can we send to our workers to accelerate the building? Okay, so here we have a chance to whittle that down a bit, the amount of time it's going to take us, by spending resources, which currently we have quite a bit of. However, I don't want to completely finish this because of timeline events. So, one good thing about what I'm doing here is that I can just do this without changing a turn. So we're going to start spending a bunch of production, because I have quite a bit of that. And we see the first stage is built, the Sacred Hill. We completed the Sacred Hill. It is like the primordial hill Benben in the Ocean of Chaos, where the first gods lived. This land is sacred now. Okay. And we can just keep going and really just build this all in one turn, which I'm going to get pretty close to doing here. So we'll do okay, and there's stage 2, Erection of the Idol. We finished the creation of the idol. Let the image of the sacred falcon, our totem and keeper of the settlement, look down on us from above. Sacred symbols will protect the idol from evil. Okay. And so now I'm down to pretty low food, but we'll start spending some more production. And we'll go one more. And that completes the 3rd stage and leaves me with 2 turns. Installation of the fence. We built the fence. It will hide the secrets of our solemn rites from the eyes of strangers and evil spirits. The last stage of building is complete. We need only consecrate it. Okay. I'm going to hold off on that because of timeline events, as I said. So we can now take these guys away and have them do other things. So rather than focus on this, if I take those 2 over here, then these ones will all complete within the 4 turns. So why don't we try doing that? Because I've still got enough going on here that I think I'm in pretty good shape. I don't need to be using them right now towards other things. Yeah. So I don't really want to get using the raids sort of off time, because I think there is a pattern that I can set up for myself here. Because I'll start this one here, and we'll do that one. And then that should give me staggered, or do we do this one at 35 and then this one? Well, because this one will complete. I think we want to get 2 going anyway. Anyway, let's go to the next turn. Okay, we open some new areas, and Horus the Ruler. We pray to the Falcon Horus, our totem, and ask him to accelerate the building of the sanctuary. He's not just our ancestor and a born hunter, but also the wisest, all-knowing god. From now on, we will honor him more than ever. The cult of Horus, the hunter, has changed to Horus the Ruler. We now have a one-time free honor in the cult menu. Accelerate the building of the sanctuary by honoring the Horus Ruler cult. Incarnation of the gods. Egyptian gods could have multiple images with different qualities. Depending on the incarnation, a god could be the patron of several very different things at the same time, be good or evil, and change his or her form into different creatures with different qualities. Such images are called divine incarnations. Okay, we also found 5 production whilst we were doing that. And this is just telling me the same thing from last time. So, what we can do now, I had been wondering when this was going to swap over. Horus now swaps over to providing accelerated building time rather than increasing the fertility. So we'll pick Horus to finish the building for me. Horus is the patron of the sun and the sky and is favorable to us. My god, I can't talk tonight. He directs the tribe, commanding through the lips of our leaders. The Lord of the Sky brings light and kindness to the world. So as you see, The Sanctuary of the Falcon is now complete in Hierakonpolis 4360 BC. So when I saw this image the first time, I was kind of interested in it because if you've looked a lot at Egyptian art, especially of the gods and I guess sometimes the pharaohs, they're holding a staff that looks very bizarre. It's, you know, the staff with the diagonal bit on top and then the two forks. Very strange looking thing. This kind of brought it all together to make sense. You know, you shove the staff in the ground and it becomes sort of the totem of, in this case, Horus. So I saw this, I was like, oh, that's neat. The cross piece there is a stylized falcon that just over time devolved into a very simple diagonal bar. But I have not actually found any real-world corroboration of this image. In fact, the only thing I've actually found is that the staff or the scepter is called the Was scepter, something like that anyway, and instead of a falcon or Horus, the top is usually the head of the Set creature. It kind of looks like an aardvark to me, personally, but I guess that's what that actually is. And I guess the mainstream view of it is that it's a staff representing dominion over chaos. Set, or the Set animal, being a creature of chaos. The various gods holding the scepter is supposed to, I guess, represent their mastery over chaos. I don't know. I don't really... I'm sure there's even more interpretation in it, but this is sort of what I'm talking about when I said that this game tries to interpret things and make it fit into an overall narrative of Predynastic Egypt. It's a neat idea, but like I said, I haven't found anything that actually says this is how that whole thing started. But anyway... Gold victory, trial passed. The sanctuary is built. Praise the Falcon. The priests say the god himself helped us. Now the sanctuary is an important religious center, and because we did a gold victory, we get a huge bonus. So when you pass these trials, you have 3 turns, I think, to complete them to get gold, and then they go silver and probably bronze or copper. So this is the maximum benefit, and kind of helps refill my stock a little bit from what I had to spend to lower the building time. Your builders have successfully finished the improvement of the area. So now, where this has been built, we have +1 authority. Unfortunately, it's using one of my workers now as a priest. How... Okay, I must have taken one of the explorers and made them... So that makes me curious. It automatically put that one in there, but I wonder if they were busy, if I'd had them on something else, would it have just put one in there? Would it have given me a 9th? That'd be interesting. So anyway, now that that is built, we have other things to work towards. Obviously we want pastures. We have to have pastures in order to get classes, the next level of my technology. And we'll have this pretty soon, 2 turns looks like. So that means that we are going to have to go all the way down to pastures for building if I really want to use that, and they're basically the same as a flax field as far as what it produces, but it also leads the way towards the temple, the next temple of the Falcon. And throughout this whole thing, we will be doing new temples of the Falcon and basically building that up better so that this little circled in area with a pole in it becomes the temple where we worship Horus. So we're going to have to go down this path eventually. And I think we also need to start looking towards cemeteries, which we unlocked earlier, right? I think this is what unlocked cemeteries way back when, because that is one of the only buildings that will give me authority and culture. We have some down here when we get to the temple, as well as more cemeteries. So we're going to need that to build up for the end game. So what I'm looking at now, I guess I'll just put a worker there. I do need to save, so in 2 turns I'll have enough that I can send a couple workers. Maybe I actually want to have this guy go elsewhere, because then that would allow me to set them to raiding. I will want to do a double raid. I think that's where my aim is at. So if I had that guy ready, it's going to take 5 turns, so I'll have 1 explorer basically. Alternatively, I could take this guy out of here, because right now then we have to go up to 13. I'm pretty sure, even though it said I got a free build, I'm pretty sure it just raised that, because it used to be 9 and now it's 13. Otherwise we would get the next one. But I also don't want to be using Horus too much. It's very tempting to use him every time he pops up to complete the buildings of things. But what I learned in my previous playthrough is that it starts to get pretty expensive very quickly. Like by the end of this, Horus is going to cost like 300, 500 to get the next blessing, or any of the gods. And the thing is, whilst we want to mainly lean on Horus, there are times when we're going to want to use others. So this Wepwawet will allow me to scout faster, and while I am about to complete this map here, we then go to the larger Egyptian map, which is not unlocked. And so that's when he comes in handy, because some of those places take like 35 turns to unlock. I don't know that I'll be using Set here too often, but he would help me to conquer other tribes, looks like. Nekbet we'll probably have to use a few times just because of that lowering of attack and rebellion chances. Right now we don't have to worry about rebellion because we're a single tribe, but that will come into play later. And honestly, I don't know that I'll ever want to use these two, because they're kind of... that +1 really doesn't matter too much later when we're having to use large numbers. But anyway, we need to be using our honor for a few different gods, so I don't need to be using it on every little thing, because otherwise, as I said, it's going to get too expensive to be useful to me. So I do want to bear in mind that I will... oh my god, there are spots on the map where the noises are triggered, and it is just annoying as hell. I do want to be working towards probably this, actually. Let's see, 9, so I could totally afford that. And that would improve... it would improve an area. Maybe I should be doing that instead. Maybe. So what does it take to raid? It's just food, right? Yeah. But that's also 3 turns that he's not really... I don't know. Because if I go to the next primitive dwellings area, then I can increase my population limit. And that would allow me to get more people so we could accelerate this faster. But I think I want to do some exploring while I can. We'll get this knocked out, because the faster I get this, and we're already at 34, then the faster I get my one-time bonus, which allows me to accelerate the discoveries that much sooner. Which means that I can start knocking out some of what I need to be doing. Okay, let's head to the next turn. What the hell? Flood! Because of plentiful rains in the south, the Nile has overflown its banks. The water level has risen so much the river washed houses away. People died, and many lost everything they had. Well, what the shit? So it damaged the field of grain. So now I'm not gaining production. For 2 turns it's going to have to be... or not gaining food, I guess. And it's using 2 production. For 2 turns that's knocked out. Well, that's bad. And then I've got to now spend food to replenish a worker who just got lost. Well, we'll put him back there because hopefully I can explore something and gain something out of that. That actually really sucks. So there's 2 turns there that's not going to be helpful to me. We're starting a raid next turn. Well, here we go. Hopefully, okay, and there's no tribe. There's no tribe. Interesting. I did find 5 production in a small settlement. We also found some culture. Scouts met travelers from another tribe and learned surprising things about their people. And of course we found some food. When I played through last, there was a tribe, like right here. Maybe they're up here? I didn't think they were that far north. Well, anyway, we need to head back to our raid now if we want to make it on time. I do now have another discovery, so we can go to Pastures. Okay, yeah, let's do that. Otherwise we get rectangular houses, which I can't actually get there yet. I'll need it. I'll need it on my way to cemetery. Either way, I'm going to have to get this in order to go through there, so we're probably going to have to start working our way that way. But let's hit pasture because I need to hit classes in order to unlock my next tech level and whatever bonus that will provide me. I can also get fish. +1 fishing. I don't know, I'm just nervous about hanging back here too much to get the bonuses. You know, I did want these. I did say earlier that having the +1 production of all these materials was more important, but because now we're heading towards this, I mean, I'm at 20% chance of war already. I think we want to keep beelining it. So let's hit pastures. So the herd could grow further, a large grazing area was found. To feed large herds of cattle, the Egyptians sought and prepared pastures. Most often it was a valley with green grass, a water source nearby, and far away from predators. Okay. Cattle were driven into corrals for the night. Okay. So that sucks that we're using that, but I can have this guy now go raid them. They're hostile, but they're ordinary, and we'll get a large amount of food out of this. I think we'll go ahead and do that. And then what I'm thinking is once this is complete, I'll start a raid on these guys for production, and that's how I'm going to bounce back and forth. So what we actually need now is to get away from production and go towards food making to make up for, well, this. So I could actually pull him out of here and maybe have him hunt for a turn just to offset that, because we're looking at a 30 deficit, and this is going to be, what, 34 I think was the last time, plus 56, so we're going to make about 60 positive on this. And if I now have this guy to explore, alternatively, I could explore 2 and either explore another area in the 5 turns this is all going to take, or I could build myself another field of grain. I think I'll do this, because then it will allow me to improve food areas even more, making food faster to replenish what I'm about to lose. And I would only lose 2 per turn, so that's only 6. And I've got 92 production. Yeah, okay. So we'll have this guy work this for now. We're about to get this back, so we'll get that -2 will be 0. I think we're fine. So let's move on. Field of grain repaired. And strengthening of the fish tribe. I beg your pardon? A message arrived that thanks to the work of many generations, the neighboring settlement of the fish tribe came to a new level of development and became stronger. Does that mean this is going to be stronger when I go to attack it? Because if that's the case, that's kinda bull. So what do we have here? Not yet. Not anywhere near yet. Okay, well, we'll head on to the next. And that lets me have another cult, but we won't be using it. Because, I mean, we're almost done with this. Next turn. And there we go, look at that. That is now worth 4. Your builders have successfully finished the improvement of the area. So now we can move you over to here, where you're far more useful to me. And perhaps I could get you back into... I mean, that's going to put me back at -3. I can wait. I can wait a couple turns. So let's have you finish off exploring, and that should all be done and ready to go by the time we get to... Alternatively... Well, which is more important? We're about to get a large influx of food. After the huge amounts of food we'll get, then this will complete, which means I can then spend some to get my next bit of population, which I can then use to finish exploring. We're at 38, turn 38. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's keep doing this, and then I can get my next batch of people so we can bust through some more. Because I'm really nervous about getting this exploration thing done on time. So we'll actually have that go on, and we'll put that now into a deficit, and that's actually quite a bit of a deficit, to be honest. Maybe a little bit too much. I could maybe offset that for 3 and 3. Because what, we're talking 4, that's 12. Well, if I'm going to attack these guys next, I think I'll take the bigger hit to my production. Because eventually we'll make this. And since this costs... See, the thing about these guys is that they cost food to then gain food, but these just are production. So we get 56 production right off the bat for a minimal amount of food. So I think just this triangle alone would probably be pretty sustainable for gaining a lot of resources. Alright, let's move on. Star observations in Nabta. About 4240 BC, near us in the Sahara, the tribe of Nabta were the first in Africa to begin observing the sky and stars. They built megalithic constructions that look similar to Stonehenge, but 1,000 years older and about 1,000 times smaller, too. They're literally tiny. They're like the size of your knee. And began to mark the results of observations on the stones according to different seasons of the year. Okay. So I could finish off still, but I still don't want to. We are back up to 60. No, let's just keep steady, keep the course. All right, it did. Oh, that sucks. Our men approach the borders of the fish tribe and are ready to begin the raid. Their warriors are now strong because of that bullshit, and we now have a 70% chance. Our food, however, seems to have gone up. Whew. The gods were on our side. We successfully raided the neighboring tribe. Our relations got worse. And we'll now raid the Cow Nut tribe. Probability of success, 90%. They're still weak. We only get 41 food. Which we'll take. Okay, we now have an abundance of food. That's pretty cool. And next turn, we'll really be able to use it. Going in here... So, raiding them didn't actually lower the strength of their warriors. I was under the impression it did. That's kind of bad. So I'm going to lock in the raid now, before I start buying more people, to utilize the... See, we only have a chance of 30% if we try to conquer them. Good grief. How lame. Anyway, we'll lock that in, bring you back, and we'll lock you in as well, and bring you back. And now that it's turn 40, I think I also want to lock in attacking them. Because as I said, that's a lot of production I can be using, which would allow me to... Well, you know, really, this is production over time. But it allows me to take bigger deficits, which is, I guess, is the main thing. I can utilize the production for more deficits. So I don't have to worry so much that I'm right now taking a -4 because of the 13 a turn, you know what I mean? And that is one thing that I noticed pretty harshly. Oh, it's now going to cost 4 food to raid. Interesting. One thing I noticed when I did my first playthrough of the game was that I was constantly up against losing a lot of material, and because I didn't really keep track of my time, I was trying to keep these as neutral as possible, and I don't think that's the way you win the game. I think you do have to eventually take big hits in the turns. I mean, it takes 36, 50, 68, 77, 86. I mean, there's absolutely no way you'll be able to produce, you know, 250. What was this last one? 800 or something? Yeah, there's no way you can produce 800 a turn to offset that. So you have to build up large stockpiles that you are going to eat through. So having these guys raided is going to be a big deal there. And we also need more tribes. Now, if I'd managed to find the other tribe that was here, that would give me 4. I know there's some up here, although maybe there's not. Maybe they don't move on the map. They just are either there or they're not. I'm pretty sure there's one here or here, but I don't know. Like I said, I was expecting one here and it's not there. So maybe the amount of tribes you get is variable, which would kind of suck, actually. But anyway, we successfully did some raids against a 70% chance. That's pretty good. And we got a lot more than I was expecting, so also good. This we need to knock out. And judging by how quickly we can do that, I've got 2 people that can just hang out. I've got 1 person who's about to be done. We'll end up having 3 more people after he builds this thing, so we ought to be able to accelerate this pretty well. And I think we're actually doing pretty okay. I think I did okay this episode. Hopefully I didn't drag that out too much. But I think we'll start getting a little bit faster once I have more people to do more things at a time. So it's time to end the episode here. I will see you next time.